Here's another beyond depressing fact that we learned from the new book on Fox. When Fox's ratings started to slip in 2006, about the same time that the GOP got destroyed in the midterm elections, Roger Ailes tried to give Rush Limbaugh a show. Ailes planned to turn the ship around by giving Limbaugh a show. He made an aggressive bid, quote, an aggressive bid to convince his old friend Limbaugh to come to Fox. Limbaugh flat turned him down. Quote, Rush was kind of laughing at the whole thing. A Limbaugh friend who spoke with him during the talks recalled. He said, Roger's really trying to get me to come back? Why would I do this? Now get this. Rush had already been on a failed TV show in the 1990s. Some of you may recall that. It was a train wreck. And Ailes was his executive producer on that show. It's another little-known fact, but it gets worse. Quote, Fox wasn't the only network to pursue Limbaugh in a desperate bid to save flagging ratings. Sherman writes that in 2001, concerned with Fox's ascendancy, then CNN chief Walter Isaacson tried to tack the network to the right, including by courting Rush Limbaugh. So yes, you heard me correctly. Both CNN and MSNBC were under pressure from their corporate parents to catch up to Fox, and the only strategy they came up with, because they're just saying, I don't know, follow the model that worked, is they said, be more conservative, become like Fox News. And of course, with the, the fact that 9/11 happened and there was like this war fever in the country where everybody just wanted revenge. They didn't have clear thoughts and they didn't have clear evidence, but they just had this feeling of like, we got to do fucking something about this. So all the networks were like, I don't know, just we'll all become like talk radio on TV and just go further right. And he traveled to Washington. CNN chief Walter Isaacson traveled to Washington for private meetings with Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott and House Speaker Dennis Hastert. And he also wooed Limbaugh and offered him a show. So they're talking to Republican politicians going, we want to give a Republican a show. They went and talked to Rush Limbaugh and said, we want to give you a show. So Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC were all interested in giving Limbaugh a show, and they offered Limbaugh a show. At least Fox News and CNN offered him a show. MSNBC, if they didn't, they were considering it also. Because remember, they gave Michael Savage, an even crazier right-wing talk show host, a show at the time because they were trying to copy the Fox model as well. Okay, you know what this story shows me? There is zero hope for the mainstream media. There's zero hope for them. Zero, 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 zero. Now you could say, well, guess what? I mean, today MSNBC has become the Democratic, news outlet, and they fight back against the Republican news outlet, which is Fox News. Doesn't matter. They're both still pro-establishment. Don't get me wrong, there's maybe a handful of hosts on MSNBC that do a good job, but they're both still pro-establishment. You're not going to get any real serious criticism of the way that the system is structured from any of these channels. They considered giving Rush Limbaugh a show. A guy who maybe has said nothing factual in his entire time on air, and he's been on air since roughly 1867. That's some scary stuff. And remember, Rush Limbaugh is a giant fraud. The ratings that he got that were so good, okay, that was back when the rating system for radio was total bullshit. They would send out mailers that have a diary in there. You're supposed to fill it out and send it back in at the end of the month. Nobody actually filled them out accurately. They would say, I don't know, I guess I listen to Rush here for 3 minutes or whatever. They just jot down whatever, whoever had the name recognition at the end of the month. Okay? The second they switched over from the diaries to something called people meters, which is a GPS system which looks within a certain area around a radio station, and they can determine through GPS how many people are listening, they realized, oh my God, nobody is listening to right-wing talk radio. This is insane. But they all got duped. All the mainstream outlets got duped, and they said our ticket to success is giving Rush fucking Limbaugh, the racist, sexist bigot who's an idiot who doesn't know anything, give that guy a show and everything will be okay. Man, if anything, the only good news that comes out of this is, guess which outlets are going to grow? All of the new media outlets. Because we're the only ones that actually give a shit about the integrity of our work and telling the truth. So go ahead. Everybody in the mainstream media, keep giving the Rush Limbaughs of the world shows and offering them shows. it's a model that's destined for failure.